is first of all a very warm welcome to all of those who are joining that we don't know, that are not members. Those who are members of the South African Chamber of Commerce, welcome again. To Karen and to Lynette for allowing us this opportunity to do something which, if I tell you honestly, in my 4 years of the SA Chamber, this is the first time. And I know that this is something they were doing, I'm not sure webinars, but they were doing in COVID. So I'm really grateful and excited to hear about flirting with burnout post COVID, and on a much more inspirational and motivational theme. So from our side, we really just wanted to thank everyone, and to Aman and Parveen and Yash and the rest of the team who have logged on their public holiday in Mauritius as well. And we can never forget to thank Dr. Manzini, who always seems to go out of her busy schedule to support the South African Chamber of Commerce wherever she is. So for everyone, we are very grateful, and I'm very grateful personally that I can listen to this topic. So thank you so much for the opportunity of allowing us to collaborate in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. And just allow me, I just need to do a little bit of admin here to unpin you. Just give me a second. And to pin myself and Lynette. Hold on. Spotlight. And let me put Lynette as well. I think I would be able to do that as well. Oh no, I need to spotlight myself first. Okay, no problem. And I'm just back to the slides. So welcome everyone. And Kim, thank you so much for letting us having this important conversation. Just to introduce ourselves, so I'm Karen Scumbi. I'm a leadership coach already on my second career. My focus is on audit and finance leaders. I'm also a yoga and a mindfulness teacher. And maybe over to you, Lynette.
Hi, everyone, and so lovely to meet you, if I haven't met you, and to see my friends that are also here. Thank you for being here, and I hope you're going to get a lot from today, because this is such an incredible topic. And so I'll share more about my story later. And I actually had a career in the corporate sector as well for many years. And through my journey with Tribe Sober, where when I realized I was really in a lot of trouble, I found Janet, and I found what I call my third act, a career in coaching. I became absolutely determined to heal my brain and my body and my spirit. And I did that through Tribe Sober, and I'm so delighted today to actually really advocate for sobriety as an incredible bonus, or a absolute almost necessity if you're flirting with burnout. And along the way, I met Karen at a women's circle here in Mauritius. And we were just sharing, and I shared that one of the things I'm most proud of is that I stopped drinking. And Karen said to me, "Wow, how did you do that?" And I said, "Join a boot camp." And on that note, we are having a Tribe Sober boot camp in 2 weeks. So yeah, and that just started the conversation, and I was so delighted to actually have deep conversations with Karen around, how it happens, how do we recognize it, and so a beautiful friendship arose. And thank you, Karen, for inviting me to be part of this webinar today. And we said it would be, you'd get a kind of a clue as to our conversations. Imagine you are sitting behind us, and Karen and I are having coffee, and these are some of the conversations that we have around healing, thriving, purpose, and all, managing our minds, managing our learning how to feel, all the things. So, Karen, let's start now with your story um, and share with everybody um, what drew you to this work around burnout.
Thank you, Lynette. You gave us such a beautiful introduction. I stopped sharing. I don't think we need the slides for now. Lynette, I suffered from burnout for 3 years. 3 years is
Wow.
a very long time not to be part of society, to be removed from a normal life, and not to be myself. I wasn't my vibrant self anymore. And thanks to what you actually mentioned, um, the turning point came for me um, about 2 years into the burnout. Well, the first thing is, before we come to the burnout, the flirting part, the reason why I call it flirting is because we are all aware of our level of stress. But the flirting part comes in where it's kind of sneaky. Yeah. It sneaks up on us. And guess what? I didn't have a clue that I was suffering from burnout. I had to step out of a high stakes role. I was absolutely ashamed. I felt a lot of guilt for not being able to complete my task that I set out to do. And that's why I came to Mauritius to fulfill a very important task of transformation. And what happened? I burnt out. So the flirting part for me comes in where oftentimes we are aware that our level of stress is at an unmanageable level. However, we do not take it any further. We don't stop. We just carry on this autopilot, and our whole, today's life is constructed in this way of where everyone is always on social media, on the go, 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 go. The busier you are, the more accolades. And that's simply not the truth. Yeah. And in my research, I really found that people don't know. There's a lot of misinformation. They simply don't know if they actually are in burnout or have experienced burnout. They know how important it is for mindfulness, to have mindfulness as a tool to actually be successful, but they don't make time for it. Everyone is aware. And the third very important point is that they do not have a de-stress strategy. So just to frame our conversation as well, Lynette, I did have another look at the statistics. And
Yeah.
it is 3 out of 4 people. 3 out of 4
Wow.
people have or have occasionally had burnout. And guess what? It's extremely prevalent under our younger generation, Gen Z and the millennials. The second point about that is the misinformation creates a lot of challenges around that. For people to reach out for help, to actually get the help they need to be able to move from where they are to be in a preventative position so that they do not have to be bedridden, taken up into the hospital, have a fatal heart failure, or any other sickness. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Karen, what do you think are some of the symptoms that we miss?
Mm,
Like that we just like push through on, we
yeah.
don't notice that are important.
Um, so absolutely what I missed, and I just want to again the misinformation, because I think a lot of leaders actually struggle because their team come to them and tell them they have burnout, and they're like, but what is the difference between burnout and stress? So it is actually quite important. And for those of you who want to reach out afterwards, I have more information. The WHO have a definition and a whole list of symptoms. But I would like to highlight the symptoms that I saw in my life. I just didn't know how it fitted in. I didn't know it was the burnout. So the difference between stress and burnout, when you're in burnout, it's really an extreme exhaustion. The exhaustion is not just on a physical level, it's on a mental and an emotional level as well. And it's not the kind of exhaustion that you can sleep, or, you say by Friday you're tired, you're just going to get into bed and sleep the whole weekend. No, it doesn't help. The exhaustion is not even 2 or 3 weeks. I thought when I didn't know I had burnout, but I thought I needed, if I have a break of 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps it will help. I took 2 or 3 weeks leave, and I still felt exactly the same, because the exhaustion is it's not just physical. It's at a it's like the whole body, mentally as well as emotionally is involved. That's the first big symptom. The second one that I would like to highlight is um, difficulty to control your emotions. And again, this was kind of like one of those moments where you're like, what happened? And that actually was a precursor to me stepping out of my role. There was an incident with a team member. So I was obviously in a leadership role, and I lost my. I couldn't deal with the situation, and I was literally screaming at this person. And when I got off the phone, I was absolutely stunned at myself. In my professional career, 25 years, I never had that situation, ever. I was always the one going like, oh, he hit the table, did he? How could he do that? How could he lose his temper like that? And there I was, unable to control my emotions. So that is often, it doesn't have to be that extreme. It could also just be that people are short. The other clue is if people are actually out of character, you don't recognize them anymore. So the third important symptom, and this was again one of those moments that you just go like, my goodness, what happened? I could not feel my purpose in the role that I took on. I didn't feel that it was possible to fulfill my role and the purpose that I set out to do here. And I remember I was actually sharing it with my boss then. Just imagine his surprise. And again, like in retrospect, and I mean, it's something I would never have thought that those words would have come out of my mouth. And perhaps again, just to bring it back to, if it's not that extreme, it could also show up as perhaps you just can't get out of bed. It's hard to, you have a kind of visceral reaction when you open your laptop and you think of the emails that you're going to have to reply to. So those are some of the symptoms that I'd like to share. And perhaps, Lynette, I don't know if it makes sense, but how would you like to perhaps just share from your story? How is it similar or different?
Yeah, I was kind of nodding because I also didn't feel any joy in my work. In fact, I felt it was I just didn't find the joy in it anymore. I wasn't showing up as my best self. I also had incidences that I was reprimanded on in terms of how I was talking to senior people in like telecom organizations because the internet didn't work, and I would just go ballistic. Or to a colleague, I would completely lose the plot. And I mean, eventually, one of my friends who also worked with me said, "I think you need to get some help." And I was very defensive. So what I noticed was, and I think it is because of the shame, because we know we're not, and I knew I wasn't showing up in a way that I felt good about, but I didn't know what to do about it. But I became increasingly defensive and constantly outward focused. It was everybody else's fault. There was just too much to do. I wasn't valued. Um, and then I would turn to alcohol to feel better. It would be like, I just need to de-stress. I just need to um, find ways to cope. Uh, and it became, and it was so interesting because now I know it's such a fallacy. I mean, I started getting panic attacks. So drinking alcohol is actually like pouring gasoline on the fire. It does not help. It does not de-stress. It sedates, but it doesn't help with the rest and restoration at all. In fact, it does the opposite. So and the more I was turning to alcohol, the worse things got for me. And I was like functioning. I didn't think I had a problem because I wasn't that guy in the morning that poured vodka on his cornflakes, no. I would, but I wasn't functioning. I wasn't showing up. And my body, I started getting incredible inflammation and pain throughout my body. My neck was constantly in a, like it was in a vice. I was constantly at the chiropractor, at the physiotherapist. Eventually, the chiropractor said to me, your body is on fire. There's something going on here. I can't treat this. You need to go and see a functional doctor. And you were talking about, that we kind of can't, even though I thought I did, when I stopped the drinking, that was my first thing. I need to stop this. It didn't improve initially, and started putting in all of these strategies to try and combat this absolute incredible fatigue. It's like such a fatigue that sometimes I would have like suicide ideations, like it would be better just to die, actually.
Wow.
So that's where I was at. And the road back, the road to healing from there um, was amazing. And I have to pinch myself, when I started to feel real joy again. And I'll talk about that when I talk about
Yeah.
the life model that changed everything for me. But yeah, so
Thanks so much for
I can
sharing.
so relate. I can so relate to your story there.
Similar
Yeah.
and different, but I just want to I want to tag on to the alcohol part, and that's really for me. Alcohol was kind of ever present, and for on my side, it was like just a big numbing mechanism. So,
Mhm.
I believe that it really, and I want to point out that I think we were talking earlier. The thing is that what I didn't realize physiologically, neurologically, is that burnout leads to a depletion in the brain, where and the alcohol in tandem with that what happens is that you start operating from your primitive brain, your amygdala, instead of
Mhm.
from your frontal cortex. And so I mean, it doesn't need no one, you don't need to be a scientist to think to understand the repercussions of that. If you're constantly in fight or flight, right, and you can't think straight, you don't have clarity, the impact that it have on you in your leadership role, in your family, in the community. Yeah, so it is just incredibly like it's like wow, how did I allow that to happen? And I just want to tag on to say that my turning point definitely came when I was able to um, start living alcohol free. And when Lynette, you mentioned, I actually, after 3 months of being alcohol free, I followed Lynette's program, Path to Purpose. And after completing that by October last year, that's when I started to feel myself again. And I could literally feel like I'm the myself again, and it was such a great
Mhm.
moment. And I definitely know that for me that was the turning point. And I want to stress, I can't stress enough, please learn from my story, please learn from Lynette's story, because I think denial played a big part for me in terms of moving forward. So even at the point when I did realize that there must be it must be something like burnout, unfortunately for me, the denial and the shame and the guilt, those heavy feelings really kept me in my comfort zone. I didn't want to step out of that comfort zone. And it took me to take a very deliberate action in terms of saying no to alcohol that actually started helping me to have more clarity about everything in my life and to really start looking for help. And thankfully, Lynette showed up in her women's circle. So what I would like to do, Lynette, is I'm going to see if I can launch that poll that we have and just check in with our
Yes.
guests. And then we might have a lovely little breakout session so that people can meet each other. So please tell me if you can see the poll. Wonderful. So please, participants, I would really appreciate if you can just answer the questions that's showing up on your screen. That's wonderful. And I just give a minute or two for that, as I'm actually starting to prepare for our breakout session.
Mm. Karen, just a quick question here. Do you think that there are some internal patterns that tend to fuel burnout, like a certain type of person?
Yes, so I just want to say that for sure I don't think I'm an expert, even though for me what I say is that every time I speak about it, I learn more. What I can say is that I've personally found that in my own research, I definitely saw that many people are that experience burnout are the hyperachievers.
Interesting.
The hyperachievers and perfectionists. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll just give another minute.
Wow. So what is the poll saying?
So let's see. Wait, I'm just giving another minute. 18 of 20 have participated. Just give me a second. Okay, let's see what the poll is saying. Okay, and please
Oh,
just tell me if you can see it, Lynette.
yes, I can see it.
Wonderful. So let's see, yeah. Uh, Question number one, have you suffered from burnout before? Wow, we have 50% attending that have suffered from burnout for sure. Only one person said no. Couple that said maybe, I don't know, and yes, multiple times. Imagine. So from this question, what I would like to point out is the situation of misinformation that's creating a big challenge for us personally, but also for leaders. And the second thing is, many people I've spoken to in my research had burnout multiple times. So if you had burnout once, you might be a contender for more burnouts. The second one, do you have a mindfulness practice? I'm so happy to see that 61% of our participants do. Um, there's 28% that doesn't, and 11% that says what's mindfulness. So let's just say 40%, we still need to work on the 40%. And do you have a de-stress strategy? Again, actually, I'm very, very happy to see the results here. We have 12 people that says yes, 67%. So for for the remaining the 43%, we'll have to have a bit of work to do, Lynette. So I've just stopped sharing here.
But
And
this is so
please,
interesting, isn't it? Wow, this is so good to see. I mean, this is just such a glimpse into what is really happening.
absolutely, Lynette. And Lynette, I'm just creating the breakout room, perhaps, and let me try and share my screen so that I can just share the questions and you can perhaps just take them through it. It's actually the same questions that they're going to have a chat about.
Okay, so you're going to go into breakout rooms, and so really just talking with somebody else about this is often really helpful, and just to see how we experience burnout. Have we experienced it? So have you ever experienced burnout? Do you currently have a regular mindfulness practice? And do you have a go-to strategy for de-stressing? So those are the breakout session questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lynette.
And how much time are we giving them?
We're going to
5
give
minutes, 10
them 10
minutes?
minutes. Yeah. And so I'm going to open the room and I'll set a timer here and call you back. Thank you very much, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Lynette, are you going to ask for a bit of a debrief?
Yeah. So how was that? Who would like to share? What did you learn? What new insights did you gain? How was that for you? Who would like to share? Who's brave?
I see Tess is unmuted, but I don't know if it's deliberately.
Yes?
It is not deliberate, but I'm happy to share.
Yes, please share.
Woo! What out?
I think that's called being army volunteered by the computer.
Exactly. You've got something important to tell us and share.
So I met with Jean, who's based in Côte d'Ivoire, on Ivory Coast, and we had a lovely conversation about our respective burnout that was not medically diagnosed, but you kind of fought your way through because, you know, who goes to the doctor because they're feeling bleh and just not getting there, right? So we had quite a lot of discussion around that and so on, and then we spent a lot of time really talking about the mindfulness practice, and what it meant to us. And you know, for both of us, it was, you know, being present in whatever it is that we were doing. So you know, fully focusing on the actual feelings of your fingers on the table, or you know, that sort of thing, and that mindfulness practice being quite important, but something that neither of us are doing as a practice per se. So definitely something we can work on. And then in terms of our de-stress, you know, sort of looking at if you have the capacity or ability to step away from the stresses at the time, and then doing things that you know are helpful in terms of your stress management. So be it a meditation, be it running, be it painting, you know, just having those de-stress fallback activities that you know help you through that moment. And I think that both of us do quite actively work at the end of the day to get through that de-stress process. Yeah, I think that was essentially most of it for us, Lynette.
Okay, fantastic. And thank you for sharing that. Um, Very interesting that you spoke about that mindfulness practice of, you know, touching the table and really, you know, using your senses. Dr. Caroline Leaf and in Positive Intelligence, we talk about the importance to energize the brain throughout the day. So, which means from when we wake up, we start to do little energizing, like mindfulness practices, which are 30 seconds, like rubbing your fingertips together every 2 hours, just stopping and rubbing your fingertips together, or um, feeling the temperature of the table, or taking a breath, and that actually sends the beautiful here and now chemicals into your brain, which are the calming ones. And typically what we do is we just think we don't even have time for that, we just push through. So it just reminded me when you were talking about, you know, just touching the table. So it's literally just setting yourself a timer every 2 hours throughout the day, just to take that 20-second to half a minute break, to just re-energize your brain, put in beautiful chemicals back in. So thank you for sharing that as well with us, Tess. And what a beautiful discussion you had. Anybody else who's had some insights and would like to share how the conversation was for you?
If I can, I think I think I spoke to Deline, and I think that what I was, I think to identify a burnout in yourself is very difficult, and I really identify to what both of you have said about going into immense denial. And I think you try to avoid the people who are near to you, who are advising what they're seeing, because you don't really want to hear the truth. And I know I'm definitely one of those people who puts my emotions the last on the line. And because of that, it makes me put myself in very challenging situations where I realize things a little bit too late. And I was explaining to Deline as well that, I was taking up exercise as what I thought was my mindfulness strategy. But what I did in that was I just became completely obsessed in that as well, and ended up doing 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours of training a day to fill a void. And I think what I was doing in essence was actually allowing the body to suffer to avoid having to use the brain and process the emotion. And I could rather think about the sore quads or the sore glutes than the sore heart or the sore head or the tired head. So, yeah, I could really identify a lot with that. And I think that these kind of things, in particular, if I am correct from what I've researched and read up, is that around about the age of, I think, maybe between 38 and going into your early 40s, many women in particular suffer this because they start questioning what is their actual purpose here. And you're trying to be perfect at everything and you're falling short at everything at the same time. So that's really what I took out, and to hear what everyone is, how different people go through things, and you try to understand their process, and you're expecting understanding from your own, but everyone processes things in such different ways.
Wow, that's really powerful. And my husband actually last year was diagnosed with burnout, but burnout of the body, because he was trying to de-stress by exercising excessively. So eventually he didn't know what was wrong with him, and the biokineticist and the doctors tested and said, it's your body's burnt out, it's fatigued, you've got to stop over exercising. So you're saying that you did the 3 hours of exercise to try, and again, it is trying to get away from the emotions. And it's such a clue. We either drink down our emotions, or we eat them down, or we over exercise them. And all we need to do is actually just become better feelers. We need to just learn how to feel, and doing little things like just rubbing fingertips together and really going to the body is sensing. It's going back into sensing what's going on in the body, feeling. I remember my coach saying to me, Lynette, you don't have a drinking problem, you have an underfeeling problem. So I don't know if you want to also come in on that, Karen, because you were also talking about the importance of emotion and feeling our feels.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw me, Kim. I was nodding along as you were talking. It was like I had I was running away from my feelings for such a long time, with anything and everything. Yeah. And last year was my big year, and especially after doing the program with Lynette, I actually got to a point where I was able to sit with my emotions. And I recently I had the experience where a dear family pet passed away. And I'm so happy because I actually managed to sit with those emotions. In the past, I would have drowned it. I would have, maybe I would have tried to talk it away. Maybe I would have tried to keep myself busy. But just that simple act of actually sitting with the strong emotions became such an important part of my healing. Yeah. So I can deeply identify with that. There's nothing wrong with you. Some of us are just, I think we live, in fact, we live in our head mostly. And so the challenge is to really come into our body and to sit with those feelings. But as Lynette points out, and I'm mentioning it in this way because according to her program, the worst thing that can happen to you is a feeling. And the thing is that feelings don't go away. They actually stay with us. And that those feelings start to build up, and they are causing, it can cause a cancer, it can cause, as we know, the body keeps the score. I think everyone has heard about this. Yeah, so it's very powerful. And thank you so much for sharing it vulnerably with us. It's this, and also pointing out that burnout can be on several levels. You could have a bodily burnout. You're not alone. Lynette's husband is not alone. I have a friend near me here that also does that from time to time. And then I've also heard about caregivers that get a burnout. And I've heard of students having burnout. I have a very dear friend that had burnout at university. So burnout actually takes on many shapes and forms, and it is like COVID, I would say, or like other diseases where it's so personalized. So that's also part of the challenge when it comes to identifying it and addressing it. So I'm
Thank
just
you.
yeah, I'm just going to share my the traffic light in terms of managing stress. And Tess, you've done us a very big favor because you already started talking about mindfulness and what I want to talk about, which is one of our tools today. So in terms of the traffic light, and I don't have to show you a picture. You can just imagine that green is go. Amber is you need to really start paying attention and perhaps start to think about stopping, and red is stop. Now, in terms of the traffic light system and stress, green zone is when we wake up in the morning. And you feel, normally you should feel okay. If you don't feel okay and you don't feel like you're ready for your day, that's already a very good indicator something is not well. In fact, so green is good, but we want to be at amber normally for operating at our optimal level because we need the stress to perform. So that's still okay. Amber is where we're aiming to be, more or less. But then the red zone, that's the zone where we come into chronic stress, and it's an elevated level of stress. So I want you to also picture an elastic band. So what should happen is, so just also remember that every time we have a stress response, there is a physiological response by our body, our endocrine system, that's generating the hormones to actually help us cope. So imagine the elastic band and you are pulling it. So when you are pulling it, you're pulling it into amber, you're pulling it into the red zone, and it should go down. This is what should happen. It should just go down again. But what happens in our modern society is we tend to stretch and we go beyond the manageable stress into this unmanageable stress, but we don't come back. And what happens for burnout is when you're in this chronic, basically you're in the red zone too long. It's unsustainable, physiologically, neurologically, and mentally, and it's not possible. So for the traffic light system, if you can just remember, your aim should be to fluctuate. I'm not saying you shouldn't be in the red zone, but you should be aware. Where are you? Are you in green, amber, or red? And where would you like to be? So if you can become aware of that, you can check if this is part of the check-in during the day to see where am I. Amber is sometimes necessary. I was working with on a program, my Energized Leader program, and I asked them to really do on a scale of 1 to 5, where's their level of stress. And some people responded 6, 7. I was like, no. So, but the whole point is actually to be aware, where am I on that scale? Yeah, and where would I like to be? And as Kim and Tess already started pointing out, how am I going to get from the stress to the de-stress? So that is a little bit of sharing on the traffic light system. And I propose now that we will do a lovely reset with a guided meditation. Yeah. So I am going off camera. You can go off camera. And we will, it's about 8 minutes, and let's please enjoy it, everyone. Please sit in a comfortable position. If you have the opportunity, you can choose to lie down. You can close your eyes and really just if you feel comfortable, and let your body relax into the space around you. You may want to uncross your legs or arms to allow the energy to flow freely. Allow your feet to be grounded on the floor. Let's begin by taking some deep cleansing breaths in through your nose and exhale slowly out through your mouth. Allow the breath to fill your lungs completely and then let it go. Let's take another deep breath, breathing in all the peace and calm you need, and exhale any tension you are holding. Feel the weight of your body settling into your seat or the surface beneath you. Allow any tightness or stress to slowly melt away with every breath. Let's take one more deep cleansing breath together. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. As you continue to breathe, slowly and deeply allow yourself to become present in this moment. No rush, no pressure. Just breathe and be here. Now imagine that you're standing at the edge of a beautiful reflective pool. The water is calm and still. Look into the water and notice how clear and peaceful it is. This pool is magical. It has the power to help you release the weight of stress, the heaviness of the past, and all the things that have been burdening you. As you gaze into the pool, see the stress and fatigue from your life gently flowing into the water. See it as a cloud, or maybe even a gray cloud color, floating off of your body and dissolving into the water. With each exhale, let go of any tension, any past worries or frustrations that have been lingering. This is your time to release all that no longer serves you. Feel your body becoming lighter with every breath out. Let go of the stress and the strain of your day-to-day life. Release the overwhelm. Release the self-doubt. Exhale, letting it all go. Now, as you stand at the edge of the pool, notice something incredible happening. The water begins to shimmer with golden light. And as it does, it starts to carry the best of what you've experienced, the lessons learned, the beautiful relationships you've built, the powerful memories of growth everything that has shaped you into the person you are today. See these beautiful experiences, these life-changing moments rise from the pool like golden ripples, entering your body with each breath you take. Breathe in deeply, taking with you the wisdom, the love, and the growth from the past. See these precious lessons becoming part of you, empowering you, infusing you with new strength and confidence. Take a moment to really appreciate everything that's brought you here today, all the moments that have helped you grow. As you inhale, you feel stronger, more empowered, and more grounded in who you are and where you are going. Now, with all the lessons and positive energy you've gathered, allow yourself to see a new version of you, an energized version of yourself. Step closer to the reflective pool and see your reflection staring back at you. But this reflection is different. It's a version of you that is glowing with vitality, fully energized, clear-headed, and living with purpose. Look at yourself in this reflection. See the confidence in your eyes, the focus in your expression, the lightness in your energy. You are aligned with your values. You are fully present in each moment, and you approach your work and life with balance, focus, and ease. Take a deep breath in and feel that energy fill your body. Feel the revitalization moving from the top of your head down through your shoulders, your chest, your arms, all the way down to your feet. Breathe in and know that this version of you is fully within reach. With every inhale, you're becoming more and more that energized, focused, purposeful version of yourself. Now, with every breath you take, feel yourself becoming more grounded in your purpose. You know what truly matters to you, and you're ready to take on the rest of the week with clarity and vitality. Feel this renewed sense of focus and energy coursing through you. As you breathe in, repeat silently to yourself, I am focused. I am energized. I am living with purpose. I am aligned with my values. With each breath, you are aligning more and more with this refreshed, powerful version of yourself. Now slowly begin to bring your awareness back to the present moment. Take a deep, gentle breath in and breathe out slowly. Feeling the calmness settle into your body. Notice how your energy feels refreshed, more focused, more aligned. Feel the lightness in your body and the clarity in your mind. You are ready to move forward with a sense of purpose and vitality. Gently begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and you may gently open your eyes when you are ready. And perhaps just take a moment to thank yourself for this time of reflection, growth, and renewal. You are exactly where you need to be, and you are fully equipped to handle what comes next. And I welcome you all back to our session once you are ready. Welcome back, everyone. Hi. Does anyone want to perhaps just share how the meditation made them feel?
Energized.
I'm so happy to hear that, Lynette.
It was delicious. I loved it. Thank you.
I'm happy to hear
I
that.
think it's strange how it seems like such a simple thing you have accessibility to at any time of the day, yet we deny ourselves 24 hours a day that opportunity to have that moment. Thank you.
Absolutely, Kim. No, you are so
I
right.
enjoy it.
Yes.
I enjoy it. And as Kimbo said, that's maybe a simple exercise we can do, but we don't take the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe. Yeah.
I'm so happy to hear your voice, John Louis. Thank you for showing up and sharing. Jean Louis always has very insightful comments. I love talking to you.
Hi,
We should
so
catch up, Jean Louis.
joined.
Hazel, yes. Hello, Hazel. What would you like to share?
Yes, hi. Joe, I've never thought meditation would be so peaceful. I only see it on TV, but that was so refreshing. It's something that I need to consider doing because I only see it on TV, and I think it's just some theory that just makes the body relax. But that was very good. Thank you, Karen.
I'm so happy to hear that. And thank you for showing up today, Hazel.
Yeah.
Lovely. So yes, Lynette, do you have any questions for me about mindfulness?
Yeah, I think one of the ways that we trip ourselves up about it is that we think we need to do it, that it needs to take time, and that we need to make time for it. But we can actually also incorporate it in short bursts and throughout the day, whether we are having a glass of water and we really just become very dropping into the now, the power of now, as Eckhart Tolle says, just holding the glass for that moment, becoming more mindful. Do you want to talk more to that?
Yes, I do. So for me, yes, I did actually. I did some mindfulness sessions for DHL Express CEU Central Europe, and it was so interesting for me. As I prepared, I really just put myself back in the corporate world and where everyone just doesn't have any time. And one of the most frequent questions that I do get is, I don't have any time, you know? Where should I fit this in? And so the point is actually exactly what you said, Lynette. For me, the focus is not so much on the seated meditation for hours on end. Actually, it's really this shift from going from autopilot to slow down. And it's a challenge. It's really a challenge. But I tell you, just taking your dog for a walk or playing with your cat or your morning ritual with your coffee, that mindfulness can carry you throughout the day. And when you start with those micro moments, it kind of has a ripple effect. And especially my friend that asked me to do the sessions, she started giving me feedback of how she really saw that she became more present. She, like you mentioned, Lynette, became more of the observer. And it's really working on that muscle of self-command, which I know you will talk about a bit later as well. And I also just want to share that, we all know about the Dalai Lama, and we keep him, we revere him in terms of what he does. And apparently, if he knew he had a busy day, he would do his meditation twice as long. So maybe he does 20 minutes. He would that day, if he knew it was a busy day, he would actually do 40 minutes. So it just goes to show, actually, by slowing down, I know it does sound counterintuitive, but we actually speed up. So it's actually, if you have to imagine a unclear pool. We just talked about a lovely pool, and sometimes you cannot see the bottom. There's a lot of things, maybe a few fish even, but you can't see the bottom. What we're doing with meditation is we are removing the clutter to have more clarity, to really so we're strengthening the muscle of the brain, that self-command muscle, to go from reaction to response, which is a game changer, even if you do not have burnout. But in the corporate world, as a leader, again, with the leadership program that I just did in the corporate for the corporate team, they all responded that they saw significant improvements in their relationships because they were able to be more responsive instead of reactive. So it's about tuning in to your body. It's about being able to have more self-awareness and to go from react to respond. And that's really, for me, the essence of mindfulness. If you dumb it down, it doesn't have to be fancy. I would recommend Insight Timer. I know there's many apps out there, but the Insight Timer is available in many languages as well. I know for sure it's in French as well. And it's even the free version. You can search so many different kinds of guided meditations. And that's an extremely good starting point if you want to set up your own mindfulness practice. And my top tip is just if you find yourself in any position where you have to wait, to really just take that opportunity instead of getting frustrated with the person who's not showing up or the traffic, to actually use that opportunity to tune in. Mindfulness doesn't mean you have no thoughts. It just means that you are tuning in to your body. So I'll leave you with this. And Arti, I just say thank you very much for attending. It's been lovely to have you here. Thank you so much. So Lynette, I was wondering, right? Perhaps it's a good segue into, so mindfulness help us really it's re-energizing the brain, right? In the run up to where we are right now, I think it's clear that the brain is really absolutely essential for our healing and for our productivity and for going forward. So I was interested to know more about your self-coaching model and how did it show up and how did it help you to overcome your burnout?
Yeah, thank you for that. So, yeah, so there I was, just not feeling better and still feeling very heavy and still very unfulfilled at my work and I mean, I was a mess. This is 3 months after what I had, what I call my not this moment. And my not this moment was I was driving to work and I felt so sick and so ill and so nauseous. It was in Johannesburg. It was an August morning. It was cold. And I had my head out the window, just trying to get some cool air onto my face and my head and anything to just feel better. And it was almost like at that moment, someone shook my shoulders and said, "Not this. This is not why you were put on this earth. Not this." And it was such a feeling of, I can still feel it now. I can still feel it morning, and it just saying, "Not this." And then I was like, well, if it's not this, then what? What do I do? Then I was able to go to that to say, and I said to myself, well, if it's not this, and then what? Then what is? Whatever it takes to heal my mind and my body and my brain, I will do. And I used to always have like a small bottle of vodka in my car for those moments when I felt like I couldn't cope and I just needed to, especially on my way home after work, just to take a swig to energize and to be now ready to be the mom, the wife, and I still had quite a bit of this vodka in this bottle from the previous night, which is why I was feeling so yucky that morning. And I got to the traffic light, I'll never forget it, Chester Road and Jan Smuts. And there was this homeless man there. There was always had a big smile. And then sometimes people gave him food and he didn't want the food. And that day I gave him the rest of my vodka. And wow, did he dance? Did he laugh? Did he smile? He was like so ecstatic. And I was like, I hope none of my colleagues are driving here behind me, because sometimes one or two of them were behind me. I was like, oh my God. But that was the moment when I really started to say, now what? So after that, when 3 months later, I was still feeling that bad every morning. So you talk about waking up. I was waking up still in the red zone. And I was having a coffee meetup with my Tribe Sober members and my fellow yogi, who we did a course together on how to stop drinking and start living with Tribe Sober. And I said to him, I don't know what to do. I just feel so awful. It's like nothing that I do is shifting me. And you were talking about that too, Karen, we try different strategies. I was doing water aerobics. I was doing meditation. I was um, doing all the things, I thought, um, gratefulness practice, journaling, but something was missing. And he said to me, I said to him, I don't know what to do. Maybe I should just go for therapy again, or maybe I need to go on antidepressants. And he said to me, I think you need to get yourself a really good coach, because what you need is not another diagnosis. And he said, you need tools. And that's exactly what happened. I found a coach, and she shared this tool with me that absolutely changed my life, because I realized you cannot out action a limiting belief and an emotion. And that was part of what led to the burnout. So she explained to me that what she called the self-coaching model, that the whole world, we can make sense of the world in 5 categories. That's all we need to do, 5 categories. One is circumstances, the situations in our life. And the situations in our life are really neutral. They are facts. They are without story. Are you going to show? There it is. Yeah. Circumstances. So we have a circumstance. Like, for example, my director came to me in the morning and said, I need a security manual done for the office on all of these different things by the end of the week. And I was like, so I then had a thought, this is just too much. How am I supposed to do this? And then my feeling was defeated, helpless. And then the actions I would take from there was to procrastinate, to complain about it, to moan to everybody else about this task that I was given again at the last minute, and how was I supposed to do it? And I would inevitably go drinking afterwards to make myself feel kind of better. And eventually I would push through the night to get it done. And then the result was that I was absolutely depleted. And I thought it was because of the unreasonable task. So what my coach said to me was, no, take the same circumstance. Your director gives you this and says he needs it by the end of the week. Your thought is, I was made to handle this. I can do this. The feeling then that comes is determined, or um, for me, that the thought that I really generated there was, I was made for this, and it gave me determination. And then the actions I would take was like, I researched, I started getting involved, I started putting things together, I didn't procrastinate. And the result is that I got it done easily. So I was made for this. Another thought that I often had was that I can't do hard things. It's just too hard. I would say to my coach, it's just too hard. And she would say, and she said to me, what's wrong with hard? And we uncovered that I had a deep-seated belief that I couldn't do hard things. And when I swapped that limiting belief around, and we found the evidence of where in my life I actually did hard things. I did hard things all the time. I realized I can do hard things. And on the other side of hard are endless possibilities. Then when I went to the thought, I can do hard things because hard things set me free. I started to feel very excited, and then again, the results from that was that I took actions that were hard on the front end, but on the back end gave me so much like value, and I surprised myself, and confidence, and I started to really build the self-trust that I could do hard things. And then the result was that I had possibilities start to open up for me that I hadn't even thought about. So when we look at that model, that self-coaching model, what I was explaining there to you is that it's not the circumstance, it's not the situations in our life that create our suffering. It's our thoughts about those situations that create the feelings, and the feelings are what drive our actions, and our actions then give us our results, and our results are evidence for the thought, not the situation. So we would think it's because somebody said this to me, so and so said this to me. I feel my thought was, that was so rude and disrespectful. I feel disrespected. The actions I then take is I'm passive aggressive. I withdraw. I don't engage, and then the result is I'm actually not respecting myself. So when I started to see how this model worked, I was like, wow, I'd done the think, feel, act cycle many times. I'd read books, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. And I didn't quite know how it all really, because I would change a thought, and I would think, okay, I just need to change the thought. But then my feeling was like, bullshit, you don't believe that thought. And I would override it with my actions. So I really learned that to be really clear on where did that belief come from. And to do that, I needed to look at my triggers. So with all my clients, I always say, keep a trigger diary. Triggers are like breadcrumbs into your self-limiting beliefs. When you get triggered, write down all your thoughts about that trigger and see. And then we pick one, and we can just see how one of those thoughts creates a feeling that drives the actions that give us these painful results, or that make us feel either that we've had to push through, that our thoughts are often fear-based. We think around 90,000 thoughts a day, and apparently about 77,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are the same recycled ones. And so a thought that we keep on thinking becomes a belief. And a belief we just act on without looking at, is this really a belief that's true? And is it a belief that's serving us? And can we maybe try on a different thought or a different belief? And sometimes we need to go to what my coach shared with me are ladder thoughts. We can't just go from I can't do hard things, or it's all too hard to I can do hard things. Sometimes we need to think a thought like I'm learning how to do hard things. And that starts to feel more expansive. So a clue is always when you feeling negative, when you're feeling heavy, you're having a negative thought and you want to see what is that thought, and you want to go to a thought that feels more expansive. And to do that, you need to remove yourself from the situation, from the trigger, or from what's going on in your life, and become the watcher. You need to become curious. What am I thinking? And it's the kind of work that is life-changing. Initially, it feels, again, like, oh, I don't have time for this. But I promise you, I learned I cannot solve for these things in my brain. I need to see the thoughts. I need to get them onto paper. And a practice like 5 to 10 minutes in the morning when you wake up, just writing down your thoughts. What am I thinking about my day? And then picking one, seeing what feeling it's creating, and then deciding, is this the thought? Is this how I want to feel about my day? And then you can go to what we call is the intentional model. So we go from the unconscious negative thoughts, which are our self-sabotaging patterns, to our wisdom, our intentional. How do I really want to think about this? And I learned to everything I've created in the last 8 years, which was going from deeply unhappy in my job to being very valued, to leaving my job on a high, coaching the person who took over from me, to opening up my own coaching business. I did using the model. I would always say to myself, what is the result I want to create? If I want to create this result, if I want to create a thriving coaching practice, what actions do I need to take? How do I need to feel? How do I need to think? And it had nothing to do with the circumstance. Mostly, what happens, and what I realized, I was always blaming the circumstances for all my unhappiness. What the director said, what this person didn't do, the guy that cut me off in the traffic, my childhood. But when I realized those are all just circumstances, and if I can take the story out of the circumstance and say, what is the fact here? And what am I making that mean? How am I interpreting it? That is the clue, because we don't live life from the outside in. We live life from the inside out. We live in the experience of our thinking. That to me was an absolute mind shift, because when I realized I live in the experience of my own thinking, I knew I was the one who could change it. It didn't matter about the circumstances, and that I could learn how to dance with life situations, whether the negative ones, the beautiful ones, all of them. I was the one who was directing. I was not at the mercy of situations in my life. So that's why I'm so passionate about that tool. It helped me to really uncover and see that. It obviously, we need there's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to give you a very quick overview of how it works.
I just want to say I'm so happy that we are recording, because this is absolutely, I just want to memorialize that. It's just so beautiful to hear you capture it. And it's so profound. I have spent time with you on this model, and every time I feel I learn something else, I just want to attest to the model itself. I've been using it since you've taught me that. Like you say, I've been aware of the TFA model from emotional intelligence, but adding on the circumstances as well as the results really was a game changer for me. And in my program, that was also a tool that everyone latched onto immediately, because it is really such a great self-coaching tool. So thank you so much for explaining it to us in such a profound way. And I'm sure that many people will benefit from this. And if they have questions, I'm sure they can reach out to you.
Yes.
So I want to ask you just to segue into how this link with purpose. And I know, I mean, just sorry, one thing. So when you were talking, it just reminded me, my father always had this saying about show me your circumstances and I'll know the quality of your thinking. Fits in perfect here. And then so when it comes to purpose, I know that it's a very big topic. And when you talk about purpose, though, I feel like I understand. And I think it will really be of a big benefit to our audience to hear it from you. How has purpose helped you in your burnout journey? And then we are slowly coming into our closing. So use all the time you need. We leave about 10 minutes for the wrap up Q&A and just final thoughts.
Okay, well, thank you, Corin. Yeah, purpose. Oh my gosh, there I was saying to my coach, what is my purpose? It's the question I get asked the most. Please help me find my purpose. And I was like, what is my purpose? I didn't feel like I had talents. I didn't have this amazing voice, and I knew I was always meant to be a singer, or like Dr. Gladys McGarry, who from a small child knew she wanted to be a doctor. I didn't have that. I always just thought I was average. And yet there was something inside of me that was yearning to matter. And so I would read stories about Mother Teresa or Nelson Mandela, the Dalai Lama, Dr. Gladys McGarry, Dr. Edith Eger, and I would think, wow, Louise Hay, these people have made such a difference. They are living their purpose. And how can I even find my purpose? So there I was like saying to Brooke, what is my purpose? How can I help me find my purpose? And she smiled and she said to me, where do you think purpose fits in the model, in the self-coaching model? I said, I don't know. Result? And she said, no, circumstance, purpose. If we just look at purpose as a fact, what is it? What is purpose? And the dictionary says purpose is to exist. And then and then I was like, so my purpose is just to exist. She said to me, yes, our purpose here on earth as humans is to simply exist. We are born purposeful. We are born worthy. There's nothing we have to do or be to prove our worth or to be more purposeful. We are already on purpose. We are here. We are born. We are human. We exist. So we have purpose. And then I was kind of like, oh wow, well, if that's so, then I might as well just carry on drinking and watching Netflix. Like, what's the point then? And she explained to me that if you understand that you are already complete and you're already a whole and you have a sense of abundance on just how magical it is that you were born, that you created, that you are here, and that there's nothing to prove, that what can you do from feeling I matter, I'm worthy, no matter what, because we are here to, we feel our aliveness and our humanness from when we create and we contribute and we evolve. So that's where our aliveness comes from. So yes, we can just drink Netflix, but if you're feeling worthy, you will not be wanting to just watch Netflix. You would want to create from there. And then she explained to me, if we just put purpose in the sea line, and my thought is, I have to become more worthy, and you can put in the dots for you, I need to become more worthy by being a CEO in my company or by getting the next promotion. Then my feeling from there is inadequate. And from that feeling of inadequate, I will always be trying to matter. I will do work, I would overdo, I will overschedule, I will just want to matter. And then the result is that I'm always needing to be worthy. It's never enough because it's coming from a scarcity mindset. But if I'm just change that around and I say, my purpose is that I am complete. And my work is, and I work to evolve, I work to be an example of what's possible, then I'm coming from excited and complete on my emotions. I'm already complete, but I'm really excited to be an example of what's possible. And then I work hard from abundance. And it's a very different, it's the way that we can dance with stress and with failure and with challenges. When we do it from a place of I'm already enough and I'm just learning and I'm growing and I'm evolving through this, it's the growth mindset. But the other one is the not enoughness, the scarcity. It's that I believe, that feeling of I will be happy when, or I will feel worthy when, or I will have purpose when. That is what drives and creates burnout, in my opinion, because we're always chasing and doing and trying to prove our worth.
Yeah.
When we don't have to do that. So that was like, I was like, oh, okay. And so I really started to practice that thought and finding evidence that I am worthy. And if I'm worthy, then how am I going to show up? And what am I going to do? And it wasn't to waste away my life. And yes, there are obstacles. There are always obstacles. But when I used to come up with excuses, I remember once saying to her, I was too busy to do the model this week and do the download to really see my thoughts. And again, I was in a negative spiral, and in the old patterns, because the old patterns slip up so quickly. And I mean, Brooke was a coach. I mean, she often just reflected back to me things I needed to hear. She said to me, "Oh, I can. How would you feel to have to see all of those excuses on your tombstone?" I was like, "No." So now I always tell myself when I want to put in an excuse, oh, it's too hard. I don't feel ready to do the webinar with Karen. Oh, because the minute we've got to step out of our comfort, we want to step back into our comfort. I'm like, Lynette, how would that look like on your tombstone? And versus I'm an example of what's possible when I put myself out there. And so really our purpose is to create and to evolve and to contribute, but not from not enoughness. It's not from our doing. So one of the things that my coach also challenged me on was, she said, you do not leave your job until you are happy, until you feel fulfilled at what you are doing there, because you're just going to then keep on thinking it's the job, it's the situations that you need to do, and then change. And then you're going to be constantly in a situationship with your life. Whereas if you heal it here, you heal it everywhere. And I work, that is what my work was. I said to myself, I would be happy here. I would contribute here. I would evolve here. It didn't matter what I was doing. I could be a checkout person doing checkouts in the supermarkets, and I can still be happy and on purpose and worthy and all the things. It's not the job. It's not what, and for so many years, I felt inadequate. I felt unworthy because I felt the job I was doing was not important enough. It wasn't meaningful enough. And when I realized it had nothing to do with what I was doing, it had everything to do with who I was being. So who am I being, and how am I proud of how I'm being and showing up was my guiding light to this day. And from there to just challenge myself and to use the model to challenge myself. I'm like, okay, what result do I want to create? I think I can do this. And it becomes exciting versus it's all just too hard, which was the thought that I had for so many years.
Yeah,
So that's what I want to just drop in on purpose.
that's
And
amazing.
of course, in my path to purpose, we find a purpose statement. We start to look at the obstacles. We learn the skills we need to live this way, to be on purpose. And I would just want to say the most important skill of all is to really love ourselves. Unconditional love for ourselves and others is at the root of all our growth, all of our creativity. When we are able to tap into love versus fear and judgment, that's the clue.
Lynette, my goodness. Again, I'm so happy that we're recording this. It's so absolutely profound. And I am sure that our audience will be able to take this away. I still remember the first video I watched of Path to Purpose. And I remember I was in tears because it was about the purpose. And even just hearing that our uh, our purpose is to exist, right, is so profound. And I think it was just the right moment for me to hear that again. But I love how you brought the purpose and the model together, and that is absolutely beautiful to hear that again. Um, I am proposing that we jumping into the final part of our session. Thank you so much, everyone. So perhaps just some final thoughts from us before we go to Q&A, and debrief or check in with our guests. I just want to say, Lynette, thank you for speaking from your personal power, and really for adding such a profound or being such a profound part of this session today. It really feels like the cafe conversation, just slightly more eyes on us, but I really, really enjoy. That's really part of, for me, so profound about our friendship is I learn so much from you every time we speak. And I really feel it was a lovely partnership this afternoon. Thank you for that. How can people find you if they want to work with you, Lynette?
Oh, yes. So you can find me, you can email me, Lynette at llrcoaching.com. I'd love to hear from you, even if you just want to have a reflection. Or you can visit my website. Also, I don't llrcoaching.com, but it will be on the slides, I think, right?
Yes, it is on the slides. I'm just going to show you in case you want to take it down.
So yes, I mean, I feel so privileged and to have been in this beautiful sacred space with you where we really co-create together, Karen. So you are just somebody that it warms my heart. Your beautiful spirit, your curiosity, your growth mindset, putting yourself out there the way that you do has been absolutely inspiring to me. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this with you. And you really have such a profound, beautiful, deep understanding of burnout, having gone through it and helping other people's now. And that's what I'm always saying, that's, our wounds are often where our medicine lies. So, and I really see that with you, that this is really you in your power too. So thank you. And yeah, and how can people learn and find you and your beautiful accelerated leadership program, I think, which is, if you really are a leader and want to learn about becoming an energized leader, who better than Karen, who's been in the leadership roles and knows exactly what you're struggling with.
Thank you for the kind words, Lynette. So likewise, so please contact me, kskumbi@gmail.com or LinkedIn. And there's my mobile number as well. And I'd be so happy to hear from you in any capacity, even if you just want to chat, that would be so lovely. We are here, and I hope that you feel free to contact us if you need us, especially those who are here in Mauritius. I would like to check in with our audience now at this point. The floor is yours in terms of any questions you have. I would also love to hear any reflections that you've got. And if you feel very brave, if you're making any commitments, just don't forget, we are coaches after all, so nothing happens without commitment and taking action. So I would love to hear from you before our final words here. We still have a few minutes here. I'd love to hear from you.
So I would like to thank both of you. It was a wonderful workshop. I really learned a lot. And I was one of the participants who said maybe when you ask if I experienced burnout, so I was still a little bit confused and not really sure what the burnout is about. But I think I have much better clarity. And most importantly, I have really good, powerful tools that you both so beautifully presented. And I love the meditation, Karen. It really took me to a completely different place. And I really need a lot of calm energy at the moment. And Lynette, I really love your self-coaching method, and what you shared about purpose really helped me a lot as well. Because at the moment I'm at the stage of finding my purpose and moving out of corporate career and experiencing burnout. I'm more confident of that than before. So I think this kind of places where you can talk and you can hear more about burnout is super, super important and super helpful. So thank you to both of you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate your feedback. I'm so happy there's more clarity.
Thank you.
Let's catch up soon.
I think from my side, I obviously, Patricia, I was also one of those that said maybe, because I think you don't really know. And I think probably the first step to all kinds of addictions or problems is admitting that first to yourself before you go and search for the results or how you're going to fix it. And I think when you listen to all these things, it really has brought in a huge reflection to me of doing a huge assessment on myself on how I'm going to manage things as opposed to just cope with things. And I think that these unfortunate situations always, I think in particular, if I say openly to women, lead us with an essence of shame that we are not managing and that we are just supposed to cope. And I think that for many people, what I've noticed with some people who I don't know if they've noticed it themselves, and I in particular went through this, was post-COVID, just the chronic fatigue of emotion and stress, anxiety. We had 18 months of homeschooling our kids. I was never a teacher. I was the world's worst teacher. I never wanted to be in that position. And I think that there's been immense amounts of destruction that's happened in people's lives. And I see the result of this in kids, in adults. But we almost, in essence, if I laugh about it now, but us as women became, well, especially in Mauritius, we became like hunter-gatherers. and we found it just a coping mechanism. So I'm very grateful for this, that you can go on a forum knowing that you're not the only person that's feeling things. And I think it's not one to say my name is Kim and I'm an alcoholic, because I'm not, but to say going from maybe to yes. And I think that that is the most important start. So thank you very much.
Wow, Kim, I love that you bring in the feminine part as well, again, because I think there's research about that. I don't have the statistics, but I think we as women, we do have, we struggle, because we also have, besides that, we also have the menopause that kicks in, that really plays havoc with our hormones. So on top of that, you're right. We kind of feel we don't, we have to be strong. We have, we have to do double what our colleagues are doing as men. So yes, thank you for highlighting that part. I really appreciate that. And I'm so happy to hear that there's more clarity. That's incredible to hear that. That is absolutely the outcome I was hoping for. That's my measure of success, not the amount of people, but the more clarity that there is, because Lynette and I was able to share our stories. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I would be so happy to hear from anyone else who's willing to share.
I would like to share a
Jean-Louis!
few words. I'm not sure about why my camera is, I think.
Are we looking at the other side?
Can you, is it?
There we go.
Now
Wait.
I can see your lovely face, Jean-Louis.
No, it's good.
Yes,
Thank
I would
you,
love
Corinne.
to hear from you. Tell me, Jean-Louis.
Yeah, yes, I would like to thank you for inviting me. I would like also to thank Lynette. And for me, it was a really good session. Like I said, sometimes I would say me, I don't take the chance, or I don't take the opportunity to go through these sessions. Always busy doing all those stuff we are doing, and so it was really good for me to I would say to stop for a moment and do this session. So thank you very much for the invitations. And I really like the comment from Lynette about purpose, because most of the time we ask ourselves, what am I going to leave behind when I'm not there anymore? And the fact that she said, the fact that we exist, it's already a purpose. So this resonates in my head, and I would say I never heard that before. And I'm really taking that with me, and I'll remember that. And so, thank you very much, Lynette, for sharing your experience. And yeah, I agree sessions, and yeah, I enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean-Louis. Thank you, Morpheus.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you very much. I see you saying, she's just saying thank you for sharing and trying to revisit what is my purpose. Thanks for the meditation and giving insight about burnout. Thank you so much, Hazel. Anyone else? We still have a minute or so. And thank you so much.
Hi there, it's Tess again.
Yay, Tess is back. Yes, Tess.
Hey, Karen.
Yes.
So I just wanted to share something that I heard the other day, and it resonated so much with me in terms of things that we hear. And it was around the purpose that Lynette was sharing with us. And I can't give you the exact statistics because I was listening to a podcast and I didn't write it down. But they were saying that they found that severe depression is something that you see much less of in religious communities. And the reason is because there's purpose. So the purpose, so I come from, I'm spiritual, I'm not necessarily a specific religion, but in Christianity, your purpose is to there's something beyond what we have. There's beyond just today. So the purpose is evident, and because there's evident purpose, there's something worth living for. and it becomes that. So having a different way of framing purpose as not something to be striving towards, but actually something that we already possess, is actually so meaningful in framing it just a little bit differently. Instead of having people aspiring to this thing that they don't really understand. You know, it's this big thing that sort of like how do you quantify purpose or what have you? And so having that little bit of clarity from Lynette, and also thinking around those things really helps to put a bit of context into the way that we move forwards. And then obviously putting that into context of burnout, and trying to help people to just take another step forwards. And you know, those things are so critically important.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Tess.
thank you. Yeah. So I just want to just say there, it's beautiful because, you know, in religious terms, we are created in the image of God. So if we are created in the image of God and we have the God force within us, we are whole, we are complete. It's our thinking and our experiences that shape us into that our not enoughness. So I love that you brought that up because yes, we are loved exactly how we are by God. You know, everything is everything belongs. And so if we can understand that within ourselves, everything we are, everything belongs. There is nothing to be ashamed of or guilty about. Everything belongs. And from that enoughness, that we are already enough, that we are worthy, we can really then do that beautiful God's work, create, evolve, which is part of our purpose, I do believe, to continually contribute, create, and evolve. It's how that's the kind of the doing that comes from the being.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd add that I've done a lot of like reflection on that. So thank you so much for talking about that, Tess, and sharing about that podcast.
And I think that was a perfect ending. So to our beautiful session, I just want to thank everyone again from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Kim, for believing in this very important topic. Thank you for everyone who helped putting it together, and thanks for sharing 2 hours with us. It was really, truly amazing. I really enjoyed it so much. I feel every time I learn more and more, and I hope this is not the last time. Who knows? Maybe we'll meet sometime soon again for round 2. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your day, whether it's morning, evening, or night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Patricia, Naima. Bye-bye, Kim.
Bye.
I think
Thank
Kim
you.
already logged off. I know she had to go off to work. Shandui, bye-bye. Bianca,
Bye bye, Kari.
Val,
Bye
Bye
bye,
bye, everyone.
everyone.
Alicia,
Yeah, bye,
Alton.
Chantal. Yeah, and
Bye-bye.
Dalian. Oh,
Thank you,
good to see you all.
everyone.
Tavi,
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Alicia.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.